As you know, Congress began its August recess late last week. No energy legislation. A handful of House Republicans stayed in Washington, and they've been playing to a very small crowd of tourists each day when they go to the House floor to highlight the fact that there is no energy legislation, obviously trying to embarrass the Democrats.
There's no lights on, it's dark, no cameras, nothing.
There we are. We have the video of them on the floor as they do their thing. There's no formal session, but they talk to a handful of tourists who suddenly find themselves in the midst of this political situation. Joining us, one of those House Republicans, Jeb Hensarling, of course, a Republican from Texas, joins us today from D.C. And we have Steve Israel, a Democratic representative from New York, joining us from his home district there on Long Island. Good to see you both. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Representative Israel, you're supposed to be embarrassed by what the GOP is doing right now. Do you feel embarrassed?
No, not at all. In fact, you know, the Republicans have decided to stay behind during this recess. That stay behind illustrates their entire philosophy when it comes to Democrats trying to move ahead on energy independence. Every time we try to offer legislation to move us ahead, most Republicans voted no. They voted no to drilling on 68 million acres that are available. They voted no to a release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. No to drilling at the National Petroleum Reserve.
Representative Hensarling, you hear that? It's all your fault, Representative Hensarling.
Well,
what do you say to him?
Well, last I looked, Steve, it was your party who was in charge of Congress. If you wanted to get all this passed, you could get it passed. Here's what I know. Millions of Americans can't afford to take their vacation because you wouldn't produce any real energy legislation, and yet Speaker Pelosi and the Democrats have decided to take theirs. So we have Republicans in Washington just asking two things. Let us have a vote. Steve, what's so wrong with having a vote on a comprehensive package of energy legislation that includes conservation, includes renewables, includes alternatives, and yes, includes drilling on 75% of our onshore resources, which you have outlawed, and 85% of our offshore resources,
what's your answer to
which you have
Representative
outlawed?
Jeb, I'll tell you exactly what's wrong with it. First of all, we tried to pass 6 major pieces of legislation to bring down gas prices. We couldn't get enough Republicans to join with us. If you had been there when we were in session and voted yes, you wouldn't have to be there while we're gone. And secondly, Jeb, you know, read the Bush administration's own reports on this idea of drilling in the outer continental shelf. What they say, Department of Energy, is that drilling on the outer continental shelf won't produce any price reductions until the year 2030. That's not me. That's the Bush administration.
Hensarling, still,
we need
when
action
Americans
now.
are surveyed, they support very much overwhelmingly, because of high gas prices, offshore drilling. Isn't it hurting your party to not support it?
No, it's hurting the Republicans that we have actually tried to pass legislation that would create price reductions now.
But your party does not support offshore drilling, and Americans do. Does that hurt your party?
Look, the Republicans have come up with a very good soundbite, a good political soundbite. But soundbites don't make us energy efficient, and they don't bring down prices. We need the Republicans to help us with the 6 pieces of legislation that we've tried to pass when we're in session, instead of doing political theatrics when we're out of session.
Realistically, gentlemen, let's be serious now for just a moment. I mean, all the political wrangling going aside here, are we going to get some kind of energy legislation when Congress reconvenes, and what do you imagine it would look like?
Well, that's why
Representative Israel first, very quickly.
Well, we've done 6 bills.
I understand that, but what do you think any legislation
that the Republicans will help us?
What kind of legislation do you think you can get the Republicans to agree to?
I'll tell you one thing we can get them to agree to, I hope, and that is increased investments in the Department of Energy, energy efficiency, renewable energy accounts. President Bush slashed funding for that by $1 billion. We hope Republicans will join us in passing an increase in those investments.
Is that the case, Representative Hensarling?
Well, listen, I used to be an officer in a green energy company. I believe in solar power. I believe in wind power. And all Republicans want to support renewables. But again, Steve, you're the majority party. You don't need us to pass it. But what I do know is if you would just signal to the markets that you were serious about producing our offshore resources and our onshore, you would have an immediate impact on price and put in place a long-term energy solution for American people who are in pain now and need help.
Gentlemen, thank you both for your time today. Representative Hensarling, we hope you get home to your district sometime this month. Thanks for joining us today.